One of the most shocking details we have seen about a second stimulus package is revealed today as Steve Mnuchin ostensibly says that $600 from the federal government is not likely coming back. Hey everybody, this is LALATE with a second stimulus check and stimulus package update today. This is perhaps our most important update of the entire week on UI, PUA, FPUC, and really anyone that is wondering what's going to happen with a second stimulus package or stimulus check. Why? It's this report, the National Bureau of Economic Research report that was released minutes ago, and that as soon as it was released, Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary for the White House, latched onto it and basically framed it on his wall. The report is so troubling, and the report was followed up with such bothersome statements from Steve Mnuchin that suggest a lot of things could be gone under a second stimulus package. Let's get right to it. What is this report and what does it say? The report details, allegedly, how much money people are making on unemployment under FPUC, PUA, and UI now compared to how much they were making when they were employed before the pandemic. And the allegations of the report are just shocking. It claims that 2/3 of all people currently now on benefits, unemployment benefits, UI, PUA, FPUC, are getting more than they were when they were employed. The numbers are shocking. It says that of the lowest fifth of earners, they are allegedly making 200% of their salary now on unemployment. It says unemployed janitors are now making about 158% of their employed salary. It says retail workers are getting about 142% of what they would normally get paid when they were employed. It said that 68% of the unemployed people now are getting benefits in excess of where they were when they were employed. That the median excessive number is at 134%. It says those in the bottom 20% of U.S. employed bottom 20% of U.S. employed citizens before the pandemic are now making 200% of their salary that they were making before the pandemic now on unemployment. That unemployment is basically paying them 200% of their salary pre-pandemic. It says occupations with the highest percentage of overcompensation are food services, janitors, and medical assistants. It's then talking about the CARES Act, the first stimulus package. As you know, the first stimulus package approved FPUC. That's $600 from the federal government. That $600 from the federal government is paid every single week for people who are impacted by the pandemic from March to late July. It expires in late July. It's called FPUC. It's not called PUA, it's called FPUC. I've been detailing for weeks how it's likely to get extended. Well, this new report came out and it basically said every single reason in the book not to ever extend the $600 FPUC. It said that the numbers suggest that too many, 2/3 of all people on unemployment are making more than they were making before the pandemic. Boy, so does the report make a recommendation? Yes. It recommends to extend FPUC, but not for $600, to basically provide $300 on a weekly basis, not $600. And guess what? The report even slams that number as well. It says at $300 a week, 42% of people at $300 a week would make more than their salary pre-pandemic. High replacement rates can provide crucial liquidity needs necessary for households to smooth their consumption during this pandemic. However, the replacement rates are not evenly distributed, says the report. The U.S. system includes trade-offs between consumption smoothing and moral hazard. Such a policy does not provide the same disproportionate rate for the poorest unemployed, but it can be achieved substantial income for pushing replacement about 100%. So that's what the report says. I'm not so much worried about the report. I'm worried about the reaction to the report. And you know where I'm going with this. There's only one group in town, the White House. Steve Mnuchin talked about the report minutes ago. He basically said the report is every reason not to extend FPUC. $600 for the federal government. Now, he was not asked about the $300 item, but he simply said $600 is likely not to get extended. Now, I got to qualify before I go into any more detail. Everyone else is out of town, so there's no one else to talk about it. Steve Mnuchin doesn't vote on this. Steve Mnuchin's in the White House. The White House can veto or approve a bill, the White House does represent the majority party in the Senate, but the Congress ultimately votes on the extension of FPUC, not Steve Mnuchin. And members of Congress are not in town. They're on vacation. So Steve Mnuchin is basically eating up all the oxygen for the news reporters who have no one else to answer their questions about FPUC except Steve Mnuchin. As I said in another video, I mean, if they had Larry Kudlow to answer your questions about FPUC, would anyone on this channel really care what Larry Kudlow says? No. But ultimately, these are the only people who are in town to answer news reporters' questions. So, what does Steve Mnuchin says? He can assume that it will be no more than 100%, meaning that you can assume that the White House will no longer support $600 per week for FPUC extended for all U.S. citizens. Wow. Mnuchin says the administration does support an additional round of stimulus payments through a level and criteria that needs to be discussed with senators. Again, saying something but not saying something. The White House has been doing this for weeks. They said they wanted a second stimulus check. They wanted more than $1,200, but then they want to qualify it, but never telling you what's going on. Does anyone like that? No. No one likes people hinting and not telling you anything. But as July, and this is how CNBC reported, as July ends or approaches near an end, tens of millions of dollars are set to lose $600 a week. Economists, however, don't like this. This is what's so troubling. Economists quickly saw this report and came out and said that the most important thing in a second stimulus, the two most important things in a second stimulus check package are unemployment benefits and rent moratorium. Those are really the two biggest things, because if you don't have that, you have a financial catastrophe. Moody's chief economist Mark Zandi and Harvard economist Raj Chetty discussed it today and said the $1.5 trillion price tag is going up because intensification of the virus and damage is done to the economy. A week ago, I thought $1 trillion would be sufficient. A prudent policymaker would have probably provided more. What is he talking about? He's talking exactly about what I have said to you for weeks. Remember when Mitch McConnell got the HEROES Act in the Senate back in May? And Mitch McConnell says, no way, no how, it's dead on arrival. I have some viewers now in July who are still repeating his comments, his remarks in the comments, and I quickly delete them. And they say that the HEROES Act is dead. No. Mitch McConnell's statement at the time was in the context of the economy being viewed in May, where it wasn't seen to be as shockingly bad as it is now. How bad is it? Unemployment claims topped 1 million, exceeded 1 million. It's actually 2.5 million, I think, last week. For the 16th consecutive week, the worst run since the Great Recession. No one has ever seen new unemployment numbers like this in, 34, an entire generation. The numbers are just horrific. And to say that people are going to live on $167 a week, it's just not going to happen. No one is going to survive on $167 a week or $130 a week. Some states are $99 a week. No one is going to survive on that. And so Steve Mnuchin to sit back and say, we're not giving you $600. Why? Because you're not getting back to work. I gotta tell you, Stevie, of all the viewers of this channel, every single one has always said, I'd rather work and make my salary than stay at home. No one wants to stay at home. No one is staying home because they want to collect an unemployment check. I've never had a viewer ever say that. Everyone wants their jobs back. So Chetty is now saying that, hey, that Mitch McConnell plan as of May, which was $1 trillion, the HEROES Act was $3 trillion, and the White House is $2 trillion. At the moment, the $1 trillion looks like a joke. It is completely, oh, there goes a little bird. It is completely unsubstantiated. No one in their right minds thinks $1 trillion is going to cut it and survive the pandemic. Why? I mean, you could do the data. 66,000 new COVID-19 cases yesterday, each day. You know, hundreds of thousands of new COVID cases every week. All those people become unemployed. All those people are going to file unemployment claims. So it is stupid to think that unemployment is going down when COVID-19 cases go up. COVID-19 cases are basically unemployment numbers. Every single person who tests positive for COVID-19 is an unemployment number. It is a person who's going to go on unemployment claims because, one, they cannot work, two, they cannot go to work, three, they need money, and four, it qualifies for unemployment benefits. So every time you see hundreds of thousands of new COVID cases every day or every few days, those are all unemployment numbers. So what does Chetty follow up with? The capacity to really restore economic activity without fundamentally addressing the health concern is limited. As far as economic policy goes, mitigating the hardship of people who've lost the most is the most effective. The U.S. added 4.8 million jobs in June, and ultimately Steve Mnuchin is going to refer to that, but that is not the mechanism. And when members of Congress come back in session in late July, they're going to have the next report, and it's going to say, hey, there were new jobs added. Great. That doesn't mean they're permanent jobs. It doesn't. The new job numbers does not include permanent jobs. It includes temporary jobs. It includes, a few hours here, a few hours there. No one thinks that these are permanent jobs. In fact, many jobs, a lot of places have opened and then reclosed. California is, Eric Garcetti, the mayor here in Los Angeles, says we're 1 week away from a shutdown. He said that yesterday. We're 1 week away from a shutdown. This channel has been tweeting Gavin Newsom on an hourly basis, shut the state down. The numbers are out of control. Certain industries have been shut down or pulled back or closed down in every state of the country. And so it's not that a lot of folks who have jobs are choosing not to go back, says Chetty. There's no work to do. I just love that quote. Chetty says there's literally no work to do because, one, either the job is closed or two, the person has COVID. So what's the bottom line going forward, says Chetty? We should be focusing on unemployment insurance and expanding safety benefit net programs, fundamentally because those provide social insurance that mitigate economic hardship in a time of crisis. Keeping in mind what we do here is going to have a very lasting impact on social mobility and inequality. When you have rent moratoriums, which I'm bringing back that video today. I think it's 20, every state, I think 50% of U.S. states now do not have a rent moratorium. So all these people are going to get evicted at the same time in late July. And all these people are going to have all their unemployment benefits cut off because Steve Mnuchin doesn't want to give it to them. And I'm just saying what Steve Mnuchin wants. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying what Steve Mnuchin would rather have is all these people have no unemployment benefits when they're being evicted from their homes. I mean, it's just crazy. You know what's so crazy about it? Is why is he doing this? Here I'm about to rant. Why is Steve Mnuchin doing this? It's so bad across the board. It's bad for the person who hired him, the President of the United States. The President of the United States wants to get reelected in the fall. You are going to try to get reelected while you're putting people on the street, dislodged from their homes, homeless, evicted, because Steve Mnuchin wouldn't give an extra stimulus payment or wouldn't give you an extension of FPUC benefits because he's saying that you're not wanting to go back to work? What do you think people are going to do with that? Ultimately, the money, the FPUC is written by the Fed. It's not written by anyone else. The Fed finances it by issuing treasury bonds, which people buy. If you want to invest some money and you want 8% return your money, you go buy a treasury bond when rates are like that. And you just go to your local bank and you got a great treasury bond. The Fed makes money on the interest rate. That interest rate pays for this FPUC. Why not do it? What is wrong with these people? The two things that really, really piss me off the most is saying that they're not going to extend FPUC because you got some strange economic data out there from some report, which I think is just total crapola, because we ultimately know how many of you are unemployed, and how many of you became unemployed the last week. And two, rent assistance. You have all these people getting evicted. What are you going to have? The half of the country on the street? It is so misguided. And until someone wakes up very soon and stops thinking that America can live on $1,200 per week for 3 months, $1,200 for 3 months, which Steve Mnuchin once famously said, there's going to be a real big financial catastrophe coming. And I got to tell you, the party in control is going to be the one that if they don't do right, they're going to get hit the worst. It's the way it happens. If you have questions to today's video, drop them in the comments below, and we may answer them in tomorrow's update. Coming up later today, we're doing a lot of everything. I can't too much to summarize. And maybe a surprise video. As always, stay with LA for more.